Hello, I'm Emily and I'm going to show you 3 simple techniques to decorate beautiful buttercream cakes. All of these techniques start by crumb coating a cake. To see how to get this far, watch my tutorial on how to build a cake. For the first 2 techniques, you'll need a large offset spatula, a frosting scraper, and a small offset spatula. Give the cake a final coat of frosting, making sure it's thick enough that you can't see any cake through the frosting. Use your large offset spatula to apply the frosting on the top and sides of the cake, and then use your frosting scraper to smooth the sides of the cake. Our first technique is vertical swishes. Now use your small offset spatula to swipe up the sides of the cake, applying a light pressure to make the frosting swoosh. Lift the spatula up just above the top of the cake to leave a little spike at the top of each swish. The swishes only take about 2 minutes to do, and the texture gives the cake a nice sophisticated look. This is a great design for a 3D cake topper like a figure or a number. Our next technique is horizontal grooves. For this technique, once you've frosted your cake with a final coat, take your small offset spatula and hold it horizontally at the base of the cake. Turn the cake, applying a bit of pressure to leave a groove in the cake. Now you can either stop the cake, pull off your spatula, wipe the frosting off, and then replace it immediately above the groove you just made, and spin the cake again to make another groove. Or, you can leave the spatula pressed against the cake and keep turning it, gradually raising your spatula higher and higher up the side of the cake to make more and more grooves. If you notice there is frosting sticking out from the grooves in the cake, like it is here, it's because there's too much frosting on your spatula. Wipe it off on your frosting scraper or the rim of your bowl of frosting, and then place it back against your cake and start turning the cake again. You can go over the place where the frosting was sticking out, and that extra frosting will stick to your spatula, leaving a nice clean groove on the cake. Just wipe your spatula off and start grooving again. This design is rustic, which means it's okay for it to be a bit messy. The width of each groove doesn't have to be identical, so you can eyeball it as you spin your cake and move your spatula slowly up to make the grooves higher and higher. This textured cake looks beautiful with fresh flowers on top. Our third technique is frosting ribbons. You don't need a final coat of frosting for this technique. After you've done your crumb coat, fit a piping bag with a petal tip and fill it with frosting. Hold your bag vertically with the wider end of the tip against the cake and the thinner side sticking out. Then just wiggle the piping bag from side to side to let out a ribbon of frosting, trying to stop immediately above the ribbon below. When you finish one ribbon, start again next to that ribbon. Try to make this one the same width as the other one. Continue all the way around the cake. If you find your ribbons are starting to slant sideways, or that some are wider than others, use your offset spatula to gently indent the crumb coat of the frosting as a guide of where to stop as you pipe your next ribbon. When you've gone all the way around the cake, it's time to frost the top. This time, you want the narrow side of the piping tip by the outside of the cake and the wider side pointing towards the middle of the cake. You can either pipe rings of petals, which look like this, or you can pipe a ribbon instead, which matches the sides of the cake and also looks like a giant flower when it's finished. Hold your piping tip the same way, with the wider side pointing towards the middle of the cake. You can pipe a circle, lift the piping bag, reposition it and pipe another smaller circle, or you can pipe continuously as you spin your cake and gradually move the bag closer to the center of the cake. Having the narrow part of the tip on the outside means the ribbon will ruffle a bit instead of being flat. Ta-da! A fancy frosted cake that uses a simple technique to quickly cover the cake with elegant ribbons of frosting. If you found this tutorial useful, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel.